Wandi is set in the beautiful Sunshine Coast hinterland. It's a gorgeous bushland environment. The residence itself is very home-like. We try very hard to make participants feel at home while they're here. They are here for a number of months, so it's very important for us to have a comfortable environment for them to be in, but also the mimicking home-like environment helps with transition back to home. Wandi is a private hospital, however, we do operate as a residential model and the facility itself is a home-like environment. We do have around-the-clock nursing staff for people who are experiencing medical instability as a result of their eating disorder. However, we also provide recovery navigator staff who are people with lived experience that can support participants through their recovery journey. We also have a holistic allied health team, including psychologists, social workers and dietitians. Within the hospital itself, we do have a number of treatment rooms and our participant rooms are all double rooms, apart from one which we reserve for people who may be of a different gender or identify as non-binary. Many of the participants that come to Wandi have been in upwards of 10 different treatment facilities, public hospitals, private hospitals, day programs, and it can be incredibly disheartening to have been to so many treatment facilities and not had success. Coming to Wandi and being able to be successful can be incredibly empowering for people, and the pride that they have on graduation is amazing to see. Many of our participants have come to Wandi having had to drop out of school, study, work. Many people have not had dinner with their family for many, many years and just essentially not being able to engage in life. After being at Wandi people tell us that they are finally able to eat with their family, enjoy time with their friends, attend family gatherings without anxiety or fear. They're able to go back to school and work and university and get back to having a normal life, and it's an incredibly powerful thing to see people graduate and be able to return to their happy, healthy lives. When participants are admitted to Wandi they undergo quite a lot of medical observation, including ECGs, physical observations. They are often supported around the clock to help with any eating disorder behaviours or urges they may have. So providing that 24-hour monitoring and support means that there's less opportunity to engage in those behaviours and people receive more support during those times of high urge. Participants are offered twice weekly therapy appointments with their individual therapists. That includes a 1-hour session one-on-one in a private space. Participants also see their dietitian one-on-one once per week. They also do therapy groups and also a nutrition group once a week. But they also have their therapist and dietitian in the facility supporting them through meals. So even though those one-on-one sessions only happen 3 times a week, there is a lot of time spent with the direct clinical team during the week at the table and just during program. Once a week, participants do a multidisciplinary team meeting with the entire clinical team, and that includes a psychiatrist, our GP, our clinical lead, nurse unit manager, and a representative of the recovery navigator team. This includes the entire team discussing where the participants are at in their treatment and which phase is appropriate for them to be treated in the following week. At MDT, the team also talk about medical stability as well as anything that's impacting the person's recovery. The Wandi clinical team undergo a rigorous process of intake and assessment before somebody comes to us. So every participant will be assessed by the clinical team regarding their readiness for care and also their stability for care. So both medical and psychological stability is assessed. We go through a number of medical assessments, which includes what somebody's physical observations are like, and we also look at their pathology and current BMI. We do have a BMI cut-off, and that is to ensure somebody's medically stable enough for our program. We also undertake a rigorous assessment process of psychological stability. We are in a home-like environment. This is not a closed ward. Therefore, people need to achieve a certain amount of psychological stability before they can come to us. And we do expect people to be able to be safe with us. Sometimes people will be deemed not yet ready for care. And some of the reasons that may be determined is if somebody can't be safe here at Wandi, and that means that they're currently at heightened risk of self-harm or suicide. And what would be expected is that somebody works with their clinical team in the community until they are safe enough to be here. Participants must demonstrate a high level of motivation for recovery before they come to Wandi. This is a voluntary program and it does rely on people being committed to their recovery to get through some of the more challenging parts of the clinical program. Before admission to Wandi, participants will undergo a 1-hour assessment with a clinician, and during that assessment we will look at factors influencing somebody's readiness or motivation for care. We do expect that people are able to comply with the clinical program, and that includes being able to have all of the nutrition that's recommended by their dietitian. It also means that they're able to attend the program, they're able to engage with their treating team, and they're able to move through the phases of care, and those include welcome phase through to discharge phase, phase 1s, 2, 3 and 4. Those phases are assessed based on somebody's progress through the clinical program and their progress towards recovery. We expect people in phase 1 to still be engaging in some eating disorder behaviours, and then by phase 4 that people are able to challenge those behaviours and not engage. Wandi welcomes all people for treatment as long as they've been diagnosed with an eating disorder and requiring treatment for that eating disorder. We take people from every state and every country, and we also welcome people of all genders, all races and all religions. All of our staff at Wandi are highly trained and highly experienced eating disorder professionals. The majority of our staff have come from a mental health background, and many of our staff have spent years working in the eating disorder field across the world. We are also led by a CEO who is a mental health clinician, so the importance of having that experience is reflected throughout the entire hierarchy. Although our team are all highly trained professionals, they also often come from a lived experience. Many of our staff have experienced and recovered from an eating disorder. Around about 30 to 40% of our staff have recovered from an eating disorder themselves and therefore can bring that lived experience to their work. Our lived experience staff are encouraged to share their lived experience with participants as a mechanism for inspiring recovery and also showing participants that recovery is possible. Our lived experience staff will often utilise their story to support our participants, and they do find that that is a really strong part of the program. Being with people who have recovered can be highly inspirational. Participants often tell us how meaningful and helpful it is to have lived experience staff support them through their recovery. They tell us that it can be really empowering to see somebody who has been through their own journey and come out the other side recovered. They also draw inspiration from people being able to recover and then go on to help others. We set our participants up for success going into their home environment, and the way we do that is to help people learn how to cook, and that is done with our dietitians and our chefs. People will also start going on shopping and meal outings as they progress through the program. And there's a lot of exposure to portioning their own meals, looking at what components make up a nutritious meal, and just getting used to what it's like to cook for yourself and prepare your own meal that will nourish you going forward. Nerida has a very high success rate and has recently undergone a clinical evaluation. Nerida continues to evaluate its program on an ongoing basis, and what we hear from participants is that they've never been in treatment that they've found so kind and compassionate. They also tell us that they've never been in a place that they felt so safe. They also rate their treatment here at Nerida very highly. Their long-term recovery rates are also highly successful, and we have the highest rates of recovery in eating disorder treatment in Australia. As a person committed to helping people recover from an eating disorder, working at Nerida is an incredibly rewarding experience, and myself and the whole team just feel so happy about being able to be a part of something so innovative and successful. Graduation ceremonies are my favourite part of working at Nerida. Being able to see people go off recovered and happy and see their family accept them back into their lives well and doing better than often they've seen them in years is just so rewarding, and just is the greatest part of what we do. We refer to our group as the Milieu. It is a French word for group of people. And the milieu therapy is an incredibly important part of what we do, and is the reason why people are in double rooms, is so that they can support each other in recovery. It's very empowering to have a participant along on the journey with you and to support you in your challenges and successes. The milieu therapy also relies on an open and honest relationship. The therapists deliver 3 core process groups per week, and that is where the entire milieu come together and they talk openly and honestly about how they're tracking in their treatment, how they're going with their recovery, and any challenges that they're experiencing. They are encouraged to share openly with each other and just be very honest about where they're at, including any eating disorder behaviours that they have been engaging in or being challenged by. The milieu do really support each other, and many participants have made lifelong friendships from their stay here at Nerida. We hold an alumni group once per week, and that's facilitated by our recovery navigators, who are people with lived experience. All of our alumni are invited, and we have people attend from our opening back in July 2021 through till now. So people do get supported by alumni who have been in recovery for a couple of years, up to people who have just left us.